Hey, you. Welcome back to the channel. And wanted to talk to the Electroneum community a little bit today. So we had a little bump up today, up about 6%. The entire market's up, and most cryptos are up at this point in time. So I want to talk to you all about the investor mindset, right? Do you have the investor mindset? What is the investor mindset? So when I look at something like Bitcoin, and for me to buy one Bitcoin costs around $3,700 or whatever the price is right now. I think back to traditional investing, and I look at that and I say, if I were to buy a stock for that price, that would probably be no doubt a blue chip stock, right? That's an expensive stock. And then what would probably more likely happen is it would be split in half. They do a stock split because when values start to get too high for one unit, it's not very attractive. And so they try to devise ideas to make it more attractive, right? And so when you take a look at Electroneum, it's trading for fractions of a penny. And in traditional investing, you tend to think about something like a penny stock, right? It's very small investments, and a lot of people are it's an appeal to that because you can buy a lot of them. And, if it moves to a significant price, now you got so many of these units and you can make some money. And that sometimes can create a situation in your mindset that kind of takes you out of your investment game, right? So we're going to look at the situation with Electroneum, how I look at Electroneum, and how it operates in my cryptocurrency investment portfolio. So Electroneum is very interesting because it has this kind of component to it where it's Electroneum the business. There's Electroneum the business, and it's operating at a level of a business, like a fintech company. And then you have the cryptocurrency that's decentralized and it's not controlled by anybody, right? It's totally decentralized in its blockchain. And then you have the Electroneum, the company, right? Kind of reminds you sort of like Ripple, the company, and the XRP token. So what tends to happen in Electroneum is that there's all these great things going on, right? And then the price doesn't move, or maybe it even goes down. And that becomes very concerning to a lot of people. It kind of takes them off their investment game once again. So in this, excuse me, in this video, I want to kind of talk about maybe some ways we should look at Electroneum and try to understand some components about Electroneum, the cryptocurrency, and Electroneum, the business, right? So the thing is, Electroneum is putting together partnerships with mobile operators. And one of the most brilliant approaches I can see with Electroneum, the thing if you look at some of my past videos that I have focused on a lot, I kind of figured out how to look at Electroneum was that Electroneum was going to be a long-term play. And I figured out that it was going to be paramount that in them putting together these partnerships and the clients of their partners being able to purchase these phone minutes in Electroneum was going to be paramount to what happens with the volume of Electroneum and the value of Electroneum, as Electroneum itself is still part of the blockchain, and there's only so many Electroneum tokens that for us to have that significant gain in value, that new introduction of money into Electroneum. Because what we have right now, I think we have this kind of pool of money that's circulating, and the mechanics of how Electroneum works it's kind of the same money circulating in and out. So what many investors are waiting for is the price to go up and for it to be stable. And that is going to require part of the Electroneum plan, which is going to involve these partnerships and people actually buying the Electroneum token, buying them for these 4 minutes, physically taking them off the market. And that's when we're going to see a lot of what I think a lot of us want to see. But but the thing is, partnerships take time. Coordinating this takes time. It's not so matter. It's not just a matter of holding up a sign and saying, "Here we are, and we're ready." You gotta close these partnerships with these entities. You gotta cut these deals. They gotta release them on certain dates when they're gonna schedule for all this to go down. There may be a type of bottlenecking as people are learning about the process. Oh, I can go and I can buy Electroneum. I get more of this if I go buy Electroneum off the market with my phone minutes. And so it's a process to all of this, coupled with the legalities of closing these partnerships, which Electroneum has put itself in place to do that now, and now physically sign on the dotted line and getting this up and running, right? Whatever the terms of these partnerships actually starting out. So it's just a ton of things we don't see, and due to that fact, as far as price movement and when we want to see all these positive things and the reflection in the value of the markets in Electroneum, that stuff is going to take some time. It's going to take some time just because of the setup of how Electroneum works. Something like this, I would look at 1 to 3 years. That's my view of it. And I like to say that to people because what happens, I think, is when people make very, very appealing investments like what happens with Electroneum, mentally, they start to think, well, it's no problem for some to go from 1 cent to 2 cents. But what they don't understand is for it to go to 1 cent to 2 cents, we're still talking hundreds of millions of dollars, possibly, right? A lot of money coming from somewhere. People have to put that money in and purchase this Electroneum. For them to do that, the demand has to be there, right? So looking at it digitally, looking at it on paper, it looks easy because you're thinking it's only 1 cent, it's only 2 cents. But when coupled with billions of tokens and the market capitalization, it's not so easy as being able to mentally perceive it. So realistically, my view would be Electroneum will be doing a lot of things many of us have projected it would do probably in 1 to 3 years. It might take several more months to really get these partnerships rolling along properly. Get not just the partnerships closed, but get the customer base really accustomed to going to the markets, buying this Electroneum, having access to do that properly through their currencies, and then buying the tokens, and being able to put that value back into the Electroneum cryptocurrency. When I look at Electroneum, I continue to collect it because I feel like I don't want to be on the wrong side of history with this token. This is a very specific token, right? Now, where I don't make the mistake that maybe some of you, I think, made the mistake is that I think people are looking at Electroneum as a universal currency. I don't believe it's that. I don't believe it's ever going to be that. And I want to be clear about that. I don't think it's going to be a universal currency. But what I do think it's going to do is carve out this very interesting market between these mobile minute users and operators that see opportunity, that participate in these economies already. And how much of that value can extend over to Electroneum is going to depend on just how much value is in these mobile operators, and how much the consumer base is going to be willing to put into it through Electroneum. Now, obviously, a great plan. It looks like they're almost going 2-to-1 with the Electroneum coin. I don't know if this is just over a period of time. I don't know if this is a limited time special or if this is just going to be the way it is. But obviously, with a plan like that, it should offer a great deal more advantage to those customers that are part of these networks. Now, that said, with the ones that have come out and the ones that have been sealed on the dotted line, I don't know why then the people wouldn't just rush in and start buying up all these electronic minutes and causing a spike somewhat in the market. I'm not sure why that wouldn't have happened with the ones that exist. But again, I don't know all the details, as many of you, what goes on with the actual closing of these partnerships. I don't have data to who of the user base, if this deal has even been offered up yet, right? The deal's probably not even on the table yet, but it will be on the table at some point in time. And that's why I say, with the investor mindset, looking at Electroneum, I think works better if you look at Bitcoin. A lot of people who are investing in Bitcoin, they're not looking for a big move in Bitcoin probably anytime soon. They can probably look at Bitcoin and go, well, if Bitcoin doesn't move for another 6 months or 9 months or a year, or maybe even 2 or 3 years, I'm good buying it up at a low price. But again, sometimes the problem with the investor mindset of buying things at a fraction of a penny, it pulls you back into this very messy idea of fast money, right? Because you think it's a little bit of money involved in it. You think it's less money, so it'll move quicker. You think it's better opportunity because you can buy more of it cheaper, right? But it doesn't quite work that way. All that said, still, Electroneum is a tremendous product. And I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of history with Electroneum. I'm going to continue to put some away in the war chest. But this message kind of goes out to those of you who kind of look at this as a get-rich quick type cryptocurrency, where you think you're going to see 50%, 100% gains within the next 1 or 2 months or 3 months. That more than likely may not happen, right? And the reason that might not happen is due to supply and demand, right? The good news isn't the same as demand to buy Electroneum at this point in time. There has to be an actual use, an everyday use, in order to achieve that. Bitcoin suffers a similar problem, just not on this scale. That said, the groundwork is being laid for Electroneum to do those things. And because you can buy it at fractions of a penny, I think that makes even a much better opportunity in the future time when that does happen. But the question is, do you have the investor mindset to wait those long periods of time? Because you're probably more than likely going to need it. Do you have the investor mindset for that, not to miss that opportunity, so when it does jump 6 months down the road, a year down the road, a year and a half, that you won't miss it, that you won't be the type of person who waited out, and then at the last hour you gave up and went home, and then that was the wrong time. Electroneum's one of those tokens you don't want to have that problem with. But realistically speaking, from my perspective, from my point of view, I would look at this as a 1 to 3 year project. Invest in Electroneum, put it up, put it on the shelf, put it under the bed. If you can't invest much, invest what you can and put it up and tuck it away. It will pay off, but it is not a day trading token. It is not a get rich quick token. This is a long-term token, and I think it's protected because it's in this particular mobile operating industry, right? It's not other cryptocurrencies forming these partnerships on a level like Electroneum with the notoriety like Electroneum. So I think it's safe in that regard. It's safe in that regard, and I like Electroneum. I love Electroneum, whole in my portfolio. But I do not believe Electroneum is a universal currency. I don't think it's ever going to be. And me personally, that's been taken all the way out of my mindset. And I know some people feel like, well, you're kind of, you seem like you kind of sway on Electroneum. I don't sway on Electroneum, but that is fundamentally my analysis of Electroneum. And so that said, I think it's a good hold in the portfolio, but I don't think it's going to be this super dominant coin that, is in that top 10 coin range. But every coin in your portfolio that gives you value and makes you money doesn't have to be, right? And that's just my personal opinion on Electroneum. That said, great community, great token. But this is how I feel you should look at this token. What else, guys? Oh, still run the contest for the month, Electroneum and Ripple. Don't forget to participate. You can get you some free Electroneum and Ripple XRP token. Guys, if you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and until next time, take care.